Hello, good evening, good day, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode, the 253rd episode of the Ask Abhijit show. Hope everyone's doing great. And let us see who all is there on the live chat. Let me see, let me greet you all. Man and Bike, GK, Kuldeep Chauhan, Jitesh Bhardwaj, Info King, Unga Bunga, Samarth Tripathi, Vinay Esman, Prachit Agarwal, Anant Chandak, Geopolitical Dubey from Indore, Pranay Paul from Kolkata, Kumar Kanishk, MM Papu Pizza, Subramanya Devarakonda, Sanket Admane. Who else do we have? Rahul Dunake. And who else do we have? Vinay Esman again, Abhiram Chevriwala, Anudipta, bonjour. Karl Bhairav, Kapil Singh, Love Acharya, Putin, Samat Tripathi, Sumit Agarwal, Saral Sharma, Nishant T, Anant Chandak, Event Countdown, McLevin, God Was Alive, Suraj, Binit, Abhishek Shrivastava, Kaizen 007, Hunter Kenway, Samim, Kapalin, Harsh Kapoor, Dhruv Dhuria, GK. Who else do we have? Shri Ramchandraya Namaha. Praful Raut, BCG, Sarang Ninale, Nutan Roshan, Vaishnav V, Watermelon, Vansh Gada, Karl Bhairav, Kapil Singh, Love Acharya. Who else? Tanmay Chakraborty, Ankita, Gautami, Ashutosh Satapati, Prachit Agarwal, Harsh Kapoor Brivi, Amit Joshi, Rohan Vinod, Omkar Kambekar, Praful Raut, Shri Ramchandraya Namaha again, Sarang Dinale. Who else? Nishad, Nishant, Mohit, Yashika, Spade, Tanmoy, and everybody else. All right, all right. Thank you so much, all of you, for being on the live stream. I really appreciate that. We'll take some questions, as many as we can in the next hour or so. And let's get going. I will first take the super chats, and then if they get over in this still more time, I'll take other chats as well. So let's go with Utkarsh Lats to have max impact on 500 to 100 in 500 50 to 100 years, economic cultural objectives. Where should I put money as a donor, as an investor? Any specific sectors, companies, organizations? Look, it depends on how much money you want to put. If you want to have a real impact, then you got to put millions, maybe billions of dollars. So if you are a donor, as if you're an investor, I would recommend you first invest wherever the return on investment is the highest, and let the money grow, and then when you have substantial amounts of money, you can invest it somewhere. If you want economic cultural objectives, um, if you want economic growth for India and cultural growth for India, where would you invest as an investor? Right, that's a good question. Let's say I have $1 billion. What would I do? I would probably not think as an investor. As an investor, I would think as a philanthropist. I may start a university of my own, in which I would have things taught the right way. I would do that. What would I do? I would fund temples, perhaps. I would fund a World Yoga Standards Institute. What would I do? I would maybe, if I had $1 billion, maybe more than that, I would start an Indian version of SpaceX. So these are the things I would do. Now, if you obviously, I'm sure you don't have $1 billion here, but if you were to invest some money, maybe you can invest in something along the same lines. But I'm not sure what return on investment you'll get as a consequence. I said that I'm thinking not as an investor, I'm thinking as a philanthropist right now. Of course, if you start a successful company like SpaceX, that's not a philanthropic work. That's good entrepreneurial work. Mm, so yeah, it depends. It depends on so many factors. Um, I would say that put money wherever your heart is aligned. But if you want to think as an investor, I would say first of all put money where there's gonna be the best possible return on investment. Then when you have more money, then you can do something like this. That's what I would say. Udbhav Sharma says, as per your analysis, do you suspect are the members of the actual deep state of the US? Why doesn't Bharat or India have it? See, every nation has an extra electoral, extra democratic center of power. But in a weak nation, you have a weak deep state. In India, you have people who are powerful without being part of the system, right? Without being elected, there are people who are powerful. They in India, they what in Bollywood they call them kingmakers and all that. And there are some people who are super rich and who have inherited money from the British times, the days of the British occupation. So those you can say are India's deep state, but are they aligned with India's national interest? I'm not quite sure. So India doesn't have it. Now, is this so-called deep state of the US aligned with the US national interest? I'm not sure about that also. Maybe the US itself is a tool they are using for global domination. That sort of thing. So who do I suspect are the members of the actual deep state of the US? People with really old money, perhaps. Whoever is the stakeholders, shareholders of the Federal Reserve Bank, and we don't quite know who they are. Of course, the Federal Reserve will say that other banks are our stakeholders and so on and so forth. It's a very, very complicated web of obfuscation. But whoever is behind all this is the members of possibly the deep members of the deep state. Who are they? Can I name them? I don't know their names, so can't say. That's why it's hidden. Otherwise, if I would know about it, then how will it be hidden, right? It's got to stay hidden. Kumar Kanishk says, what could be the reason for the Dyatlov Pass incident, especially the condition the bodies were found? Avalanche can't be the reason. Can this be a USSR cover-up? So there's this very fascinating incident that happened sometime in the 1960s. A bunch of hikers went into some Siberian pass called the Dyatlov Pass. The leader of the group his surname was Dyatlov. And then they disappeared, and then later their bodies were found in very strange conditions. It was freezing weather, snow everywhere, but they were found with their undergarments on, and some people had organs missing, and some absolutely weird stuff was there. And so there's no explanation. No one's been able to explain what happened. And there have been rumors of supernatural causes and alien abduction kind of activity and so on. So what could be the reason? I have absolutely no idea. It's a mystery. That's the reason it's a mystery. It's definitely really fascinating, very mysterious, kind of creepy, kind of scary. And I don't know what happened. Maybe aliens came there. Because there are no footprints of somebody who did something violent to these people which caused their deaths. They could not find any evidence of a shred of evidence of other people. So maybe these people were perhaps killed because they discovered some USSR state secrets, perhaps. And then the USSR authorities covered up. That could be a possibility. But there's no evidence either way, whether it's a USSR cover-up or it's an alien abduction or aliens came and did something or there was some supernatural entity. Absolutely no idea. Big mystery, and it's an enduring mystery. Kumar Kanish says, how does uranium react with dark matter? Any research? Uranium is regular matter. Regular matter doesn't interact with dark matter. That's the problem. Dark matter is supposed to be, at least cold dark matter is supposed to be purely gravitating, which means it will not react at all with any electromagnetic force object, any object that interacts electromagnetically. And uranium is just regular matter. So there's no interaction beyond the gravitational interaction, which is super, 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 super incredibly weak. Like 10 raised to minus 30, something orders of magnitude weaker than the weak force, which is shocking. So no reaction. MM says, your first beer biceps show changed my life. Thank you, sir. I moved from manufacturing to IT at 30. By applying first principles, also started running my agency OU. Thank you so much. It's so nice to hear these stories. So I really appreciate that. And thank you so much for your contribution, sir. I really appreciate that. And once again, we have MM who says, I have a 1-year-old daughter. How can I raise her with Indian values and high standards, knowledge of Indian history, knowing the conditions of the Indian education system? Yeah, that's a great question. How do you raise your kid with Indian values and high standards? You're going to expose your kids to the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, ideally in your own mother tongue. You do that. You spend an hour a day, half an hour a day, going through this with your kid. The kid will have Indian values, and the kid will have higher standards than most kids. And if you want to have real high standards, you need to inculcate a scientific approach in the kid. Best way is to make sure the kid is very well grounded in mathematics, basics of mathematics, and understands science well. If you understand science well, you automatically will have the scientific method ingrained in you, which is all the things that come with the scientific method, first principles analysis, and so on and so forth. Knowledge of Indian history, well, that's a whole different thing. You need a lot of reading to know Indian history properly, and then there's the risk that you're going to get misled by Indian history because most of the books have distortions. And kids are just so trusting, it's not their fault. They will read and they'll believe. Most of the people in India who are misled by our historians are completely innocent. It is not their fault at all. So you can't see them as enemies. So my point is, that learning Indian history properly it's difficult. That takes time, that takes experience. But Indian values, Ramayana and Mahabharata teach that in your mother tongue, ideally. If possible, Sanskrit. That's even better. And yeah, and inculcate the scientific approach. That should do it. All the best, sir. Kumar Kanishk says, why is radioactive uranium abundant on Earth compared to other rocky planets, as it is not formed on planets? Does it have any relation to the origin of life? I'm not sure what the abundance of uranium is on Venus or on Mars. I'm not sure we have done any study, because we hardly have any access to Mars. We have a couple of instruments over there, American instruments. They are not equipped to search for radioactivity, as far as I'm aware. I'm not sure they're equipped to search for uranium. So how do we know that there's more uranium on Earth compared to rocky planets like Venus or Mars or Mercury? Mercury, we have absolutely no idea. So as far as I know, there's no evidence that we have more abundance of uranium than Venus or Mars or Mercury. Right? So I'm not sure where you got this information. I am not aware of this information. Now, how does uranium form is the question. It forms in disastrous, very, very high intensity astrophysical events, like the merger of neutron stars. Two neutron stars collide and merge, that sort of thing. Then you have extremely heavy elements being formed, like gold, lead, uranium, etc. Right? So uranium generally forms through these extremely energetic astrophysical events. Iron, etc., forms during supernova explosions, or it is the precursor to a star going supernova, and so on and so forth. So the heavy elements, they come into existence through very violent astrophysical events. So we inherited all this metal or whatever we have on the planet, which came from the destruction of ancient stars. The sun, our sun, is about 4 point something billion years old. It is a second or third generation star. The gas that it contains, the hydrogen, mostly hydrogen, 90% plus hydrogen, it came from other stars that had gone supernova before it. It's like the reincarnation of a star. That's what the sun is. And everything on our planet was formed during supernova explosions or neutron star collisions. So the blood, the iron in our blood, you see the pink in my palm? That's iron, that's hemoglobin. Hemoglobin, it has iron. The iron in our blood came from a supernova explosion, from the death of a star, and so on. Calcium in our bones, all of that. So that's where we have it. Uranium is not related to the origin of life. It's not. Rohan says, I hope you read my yesterday comment, harsh truth by me. I get a million comments a day. I haven't read your comment. If you had to tell me a harsh truth, you could have put it over here instead of putting this. I'll try and look for it. Okay, I'll try. I'm not able to read all the comments. I would love to read everybody's comments. Believe you me. Initially, I used to do that when I had like 10,000 subscribers. I used to read all the comments. Now it's not possible. Now, as long as I was taking questions for Ask Abhijit from the comments, I used to look at the comments and search for the Ask Abhijit hashtag. I used to look for all of those. I used to read all of those. Like it would take me hours. But today it's simply impossible. I'm so sorry. Okay, please don't take it personally. So if you had to put a comment, you could have put that comment instead of saying, have you read my comment? Think logically, sir. Anonymous Human says, maybe a dumb question. No. There's no dumb questions. Please ask. Why doesn't light have infinite speed? What's stopping it? It doesn't have mass, so technically it should be infinite. That's just the laws that have been coded into the fabric of the universe. Maybe we have a multiverse and you have other universes with different speed limits. So there is something that has been somehow predetermined. See, why is the universe the way it is? We don't know why it is like this. Why do the universal constants, the constants, the physical constants, why do they have these values? That's a big, gigantic, gaping hole in our understanding of physics. Why does the gravitational constant, big G, have that value? Why is Planck's constant whatever times 10 raised to minus 34 whatever? Why is it like that? Why not a different value? Why is the speed of light so many meters per second? Why is it that? And so many other questions. All the physical constants. You can very easily Google the list of physical constants. Shall we do it? Let's do it. What's the list of physical constants? I'll give you a whole bunch of examples. List of physical constants. Here we have it. Let's look at an image. JEE, good example. Speed of light, Planck constant. Minus, yeah. Why is the gravitational constant what it is? Why is the Boltzmann constant there? Why is the charge of the electron whatever it is in terms of coulombs or electron volts or whatever? Why is the Coulomb's constant what it is? Why is the Stefan Boltzmann constant what it is? Why are the constants? Why do they have these values? That's a big open question in physics, and we don't have the answers. So your question is part of that. Why doesn't light have a different speed? Why is it not infinite? So, well, I can give you an answer from the perspective of relativity. That if light has infinite speed, then then we will have everything will have to have zero mass and that sort of thing. The point is we don't know. The point is somebody coded these constants into our universe. It's like there was a programmer. Okay, there was a programmer who hard coded these things. If you know programming, you'll know what is hard coding. It's not a good practice, but somebody hard coded these parameters into the universe, and we are stuck with them. Who is this programmer? So either we're living in a simulation, or maybe who knows what else. Vedic Post says, what about Islamic conversions analogous to Joshua project in India? You mentioned earlier, is there a data? I don't look into these matters. I don't look into matters of religion and religious strife. I look at geopolitics, I look at science, I look at history. That's already a huge amount of stuff on my plate. I cannot fight every battle. I would love to have like 3 different heads and 3 different brains and 6 arms. Then I could do all this, but I am not aware of this. I'm so sorry. I'm not aware of any data about the numbers and velocity and dynamics and whatever of various conversions to various other outside religions. Not aware of this. I'm aware that all these things are happening, and it is being done, orchestrated essentially, I'm sure, but it's not something I keep track of. So I don't have the answer to your question. Did I mention Joshua project? I don't think I've spoken about the Joshua project either. I'm sure there are lots of people who discuss these matters, and maybe you thought that I discuss this. I do not discuss this. I don't discuss issues of religion. I'll talk about geopolitics. I'm happy to talk about science. I'm happy to talk about history. Beyond that, I don't get into other things. So that's not my battle. There are other people, other warriors who will fight the battle, the good battle. So you can, look into what they have to say. They are experts in these things. I have no idea whatsoever. Sorry about that, sir. Very sorry. Arun says, was Sheikh Hasina evil like the students claim? What students? The students are misled. You see, was she necessary evil which was holding all the bad things of Bangladesh? So you have fallen victim to propaganda. Or maybe you're not victim to propaganda, but you are seeing what the students are saying. Look, students are what? Kids, right? I was there. How was I when I was a student? And a clueless, naive boy. I can look back at myself the way I was when I was 19, 20. I was super clueless about the world. I had a lot of book knowledge. I had no real world experience. Absolute naivete. Everybody at the age of 20 is like that. At the age of 20, you think you know everything about the world, but you're super clueless and super naive. And it's very easy to mislead young kids. Young kids, as in like 18, 19, 20 years old, 20-year-olds. So they have been told Sheikh Hasina was this evil dictator. India is the evil enemy, this evil Hindu nation. And they want Bangladesh down. They are the enemies of Bangladesh. And Sheikh Hasina was their puppet. So these students, they believe it. Is it their fault they believe it? It's not their fault. It's very easy to mislead them. So they believe she was evil, and this is a great change for Bangladesh. Mr. Mohammed Yunus, the great Nobel Peace Prize winner. I mean, who can be better than that? Dr. Mohammed Yunus. He is the Bangladeshi Dr. Manmohan Singh. But at least Dr. Manmohan Singh kind of was elected in some kind of roundabout way. Not really. He was a member of the what Rajya Sabha from, not from Punjab, from Assam somewhere. I don't know what kind of thing it was. So yeah, Dr. Mohammed Yunus is kind of the Bangladeshi Dr. Manmohan Singh. So look, it's very easy to mislead students. She was not evil. What did she do? Was she a dictator? She was elected multiple times by the people of Bangladesh. They claim the elections were rigged. What evidence do you have the elections were rigged? You are being rigged. So she was not evil, my friends. She was not. This is all propaganda, which is amplified by the West, by the way. Spade says Asar. In the previous stream, you said there are American nuclear warheads in Pakistan. Is that true? I think it's a possibility. I think there's a non-zero probability that some of the nuclear warheads are American. Okay, I haven't been there. They haven't invited me and given me access to check that. See, sir, Abhijit, sir, these are not American warheads. These are genuine Pakistani warheads. They have not allowed me to see. So I'm just using some logic and common sense and saying that it's possible that the Americans have given their warheads to Pakistan as leverage against us. Just a hunch. And there is a non-zero probability that this could be true. Maybe there is a 35% probability that it's the case, in my assessment. Abhishek Srivastav says, where is Elon Musk? Why is he sidelined? Who is the deep state? The deep state is this invisible group of shadowy people who allegedly run the world and are the masters and owners of the United States, allegedly. Where is Elon Musk? He is back in his office, either at Tesla or SpaceX or wherever. He is back among his minions. He'll launch a few more rockets. Why is he sidelined? Because look, he has served his purpose. Foreign policy, that publication, they are saying that he was a useful idiot for Trump. A clown, they call him. The guy who has been intelligent enough to amass the biggest fortune in human history, according to foreign policy, is a clown. But yeah, he's inexperienced in politics, and maybe Trump took him for a ride. So he was used. I think Vivek Ramaswamy was super intelligent. He got out of Doge at the right time. And Doge doesn't seem to have made much of an impact, and it's over now. So I think Elon Musk is out and he's back running his companies. But he's got super deep pockets, so he's going to be useful to Trump. He's going to remain useful for Trump for a long, long time. So he's not entirely sidelined, but for now he's kind of no longer in center stage. All right. Ayers Manticore says the only way radical Abrahamic beliefs can be damaged or defanged is by good rational education, excellent per capita income, and removal of blasphemy laws, plus removing all kinds of misguided funding thoughts. Once again, a question about religion. Look, what you need in India is everybody should be taught India's culture. No question about it. Everybody should be taught India's culture, and we need to have. Why should we not expect to have the world's best education system? We invented education, didn't we? We had universities when the world was crawling. I mean, was living on trees. So we need to have good education. I don't like this word rational, because rational is like, the atheistic people and the rationalists. They're a bunch of crazy crackpot loonies who like to use the word rational everywhere. So I'm kind of, when I see the word rational, I'm like, whoa, you stay away, rational. I'm so rational. I'm an atheist. All religions are irrational, and this and that. All religions are the same, irrational. So look, I don't like this word rational, but I'm sure you mean it in a good way. Okay, so I'm not targeting you, by the way. So we need good education. No question about it. We need highest quality education. We need education that is focused on science, technology, education, and math. STEM, right? Whatever the STEM. Science, technology, and math. That's what we need. And we need everybody to be grounded in Indian culture, values, morality, ethics, and civilization. And obviously, we need high per capita income. We need good living standards. We need uh, good governance. We need zero corruption. You do all those things, in India will be heaven once again. So I agree with you. What you're saying makes sense. Yes. Vidhi Manyar is asking the same question again. that she asked earlier. Well, it's okay. I can answer you again. Best source of veg protein without fats and carbs. No, it's a different question. It's not the same question. Last time when you said, what's the best source of veg protein without carbs? Now she's asking without fat and carbs. Um, if you remove fat and carb, you're left with protein, but there's no veg source like that. There's none. See, that's the ideal protein. It's just protein. There's no fat, no carbs. That's what you get from whey protein. So I think whey protein is veg protein, but it doesn't grow on trees. It's a dairy product. So what you do is when you're making curd, you whey is that watery byproduct which contains a lot of protein. So you then somehow process it and you get this powder, which is whey protein powder, which is mainly protein. Now it depends on the brand. Some brands put a lot of sugar in that, and they say it's only 10% carbs, but there's a 10% of sugar in there. You should go with the clean, flavorless whey protein, just white stuff, no flavor, no added anything, just protein. So I think they would have what 20 25 grams of protein per scoop or something. That's the best source of veg protein, non uh, non cruelty protein, right? With no fats, no carbs. But if you don't want any processed stuff, whey protein obviously is processed, then you're left with paneer, which has a tremendous amount of fats. So that's all I can offer you. There's no other answer beyond that, sir, ma'am. Right. Gagandeep Datta says, while China is supplying weapons to Pakistan, why aren't we countering China by giving Taiwan supersonic weapons or giving them nuclear warheads? Because we're not children, you see. If we start uh, giving Taiwan stuff, then China will no longer hold back in giving Pakistan all the advanced stuff. They will give the J-20 quasi stealth fighter planes. They will give everything that they have at their disposal to Pakistan. They may even send their army into Pakistan to bolster Pakistan. They can do it. So we don't want to escalate things. We'll keep things the way they are. The world is already an unstable enough place, tense enough place. And whatever we want to do with Taiwan, we can do it secretly instead of doing it openly. Maybe we are doing stuff with Taiwan, but maybe the citizens and civilians are not supposed to know it. See, everything is not like what happens on the TV news debates. हमने ये कर दिया, हमको वो करना चाहिए, and so on. Things happen quietly behind the scenes. So please, let's not have all these expectations that everything will be done in public. There are relations between India and Taiwan, by the way. Yeah. But we don't talk about them. So I already said too much. Hush, hush. Okay, Aryan says, if we send one entangled particle into a black hole and keep the other one under observation, would information still be conserved? This is a good question, yes? Would information still be conserved? No, that's not what I care about. I want to know what's the state of the other guy inside. Information conserved, information is all right. So I have two particles. I've created a pair of entangled particles. Okay, photons. Oh, whatever. They're entangled. So what's entanglement? It's like we have two gloves. It's a very crude example, not a very accurate example. Let's say you have two gloves, a left-handed glove and a right-handed glove. You pack them in two packages. I send one to Nairobi. I send the other one to Moscow. My friend in Moscow, Mr. Putin, opens it. He says, "There's a left-handed glove." Is left-handed glove. So it means that Mr. whoever it is in Nairobi has received a right-hand glove. That is so far away, but immediately Mr. Putin knows what the other guy has. That's entanglement, kind of. It's a very crude way of putting it. So let's say you have two photons which are entangled. It means, what does it mean to be entangled at the quantum mechanical level? It means that their state can only be described by a single wave function. Okay? It's a composite system with a single wave function. So then you have this pair of particles that are intrinsically connected to each other. And let's say I send one to Andromeda and I keep one here. Andromeda is a billion plus light years away, but still I will kind of know what's the state of the thing, despite it being so far away that I can't access it through light speed travel for 5 billion years or something. So that's what entanglement is. So now let's say we take one of these entangled particles and send it inside the black hole. There it goes. So will we know what's the state of the particle? We may actually. That's a good thought experiment. We keep the other one under observation. Would information still be conserved? What happens? Will we actually know? We will know what happens to the other guy as long as the other guy exists and doesn't become pure energy. So this is the question you're asking is not actually related to conservation of uh, the information thing. It's more about quantum mechanical entanglement. So as long as the other particle remains in existence inside the black hole and doesn't get for some reason converted into pure energy, then yeah, you may kind of know what's happening inside. That's what I'll say. Nathan Roshan, thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much. Divya Sharma says Vietnam, Indonesia, Singapore, Israel still sovereign. Singapore, Indonesia, Vietnam. Well, I have news for you. You gotta study some history. Mohit says that's why it's said that we're all made of stardust. We are all made of stardust. We are all made of star stuff. We are made of stuff that was forged in these stellar furnaces, nuclear furnaces. All the stuff within us, it was created in the incredibly hot nuclear furnaces that are stars billions of years ago. And all of that is within us today. Just imagine that. So, yes, Rohan Zuneja says Trump's commerce secretary says India-Russia relations hurt us. I just did a half an hour segment on that. So watch that. Watch that in the second episode of Geostrategy with Ask Abhijit, with Abhijit Chawda, in which I just covered this thing that you were talking about for about half an hour. Watch that, please. GGEZS says, can India become a presidential form of government like the US of A in the near future? No. Not happening in the near future. The current politicians will not allow that to happen. I feel the UK system of democracy in a large country is pointless. Well, you're saying exactly what I've been saying for a long time, so I completely agree with you. But it's not going to happen anytime soon. The current political system is deeply entrenched. All the current politicians have come to power and they have all benefited from the current system. Why will they allow the system to go away? Not going to happen. Even if it's good for the country, they won't allow it to happen because of their personal vested interests. So it's not going to happen anytime in the near future, unfortunately. And it's sad. Ichino Senpai says, are foreign powers undermining a Hindu family unit? I think it's maybe there are foreign powers that are doing it, but it's the overall system that's doing it. I'll tell you what, the economic system. It's in India, the economy is such that you can do well in your life only if you move to a major metropolitan city. If you live in a major metropolitan city, generally what you need to have is both husband and wife need to work full time in order for the family to have a good salary and to have a good income. Now, if both husband and wife are working, then who's going to procreate? Who's going to produce kids? And if you have kids, who's going to take care of them? Maybe you can bring in your parents, the kids' grandparents, but then who will provide for them? It's expensive. In big cities, very small apartments exist, and how can you keep so many people in the apartments? So both husband and wife have to work and all. So it's the system, the economic system, that is undermining the Hindu family unit. Imagine in India, where you can earn a great income no matter where you are. If you go to European countries, if you go to Switzerland, you can have a great livelihood if you're living in a reasonably big city. You can have a great income and livelihood if you're living in a small alpine village. But in India, if you're in a village, you are in poverty. Imagine if you did not have a situation like that. Imagine if you could earn the same amount of money in a city and in a village. Then what it would do is that the Indian traditional family system would continue. The extended family, which was very good. Then you could have kids, even if you're working full time. And your parents or grandparents would take care of the kids. There would always be somebody to take care of the kids. So that was a great system. It's being actively destroyed right now. It's not foreign powers, it's the current system that is doing it, our own system. Geopolitical Dubeji, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Mahesh Rani says, do we know if the Indian government is investing in AI? We know that, and the Indian government is investing in AI. And I am way more positive and optimistic now. after seeing recent developments. Uh, really now says, would one like living in China? Tiananmen Square massacre. Today is the 4th of July, 2025. What happened 36 years ago? If you ask somebody in China, they'll say, what? Nothing happened 36 years ago. What happened 36 years ago was the Tiananmen Square massacre. Brutal massacre. Would one like living in China? Well, if you like an authoritarian nation, a genuine authoritarian nation, sure, you'll like it. Look, they have better living standards than India. If you live in cities like Hong Kong or Shanghai, it's first world standards. There are other places where it's still like India, and so on. But the system is authoritarian, and if you walk just 1 inch on the wrong side of the law, you'll face the full brunt of it. In India, you can get away with anything. India is a very, very relaxed country that way. Yeah, it's a real democracy, and you have real freedom in India. Believe you me, once you go out of India and live in some of these countries, then you will know what real freedom is. So it depends on whether you are okay with such things. Then you may just, if you're okay with living under a dictatorship, as long as the living standards are good, then you may enjoy China perhaps. But the culture is different. So Priyojit Chakraborty says, why are tailless fighter jets considered difficult to pilot? Yet China continues to develop models like the J-36 and J-50. Look, aircraft traditionally have had a certain set of certain kind of design that ensures stability. So if you look at Cessna aircraft, the old ones and all, you can cut off the power, but they will still keep on gliding under their own power. You take your hands off the controls, the aircraft will take care of itself. It'll just glide. It won't become unstable. But when it comes to fighter planes, you deliberately have a design that is unstable, because that is more maneuverable. But then for maneuverability and control, you need a computer, a high powered computer with thousands, probably hundreds of thousands, millions of lines of code to control the aircraft properly. Otherwise it'll just tumble, right? So and some of these fighter jets are tailless, and yeah, tailless ones, because they lack the they lack the vertical stabilization. That's why they are even more difficult to control. For example, the stealth bombers, the big ones, they're shaped like boomerangs, like bats, right? They have no tails. Super unstable aircraft. They have very powerful computers that control the flight every millisecond. So yeah, because of the physics, because of the um, because of the way the what do you call it, fluid dynamics aspect, that's why they are so unstable. But they control via computers, and that's what. And because you can't have such characteristics like a vertical stabilizer when you want to have stealth characteristics also, so you got to dispense with that, but that makes it more unstable. So that's why you will need to develop more models like this, more advanced models like this, if you want the stealth characteristics and the other characteristics you want. So there you have it. Ritvik Yadwanshi says, Russia being the closest ally for us, but do they still have a spy network in India and vice versa? If yes, then what for? Even France and Israel too. Any major self-respecting nation will gather intelligence about its friends, allies, and enemies. Everybody. Look, why do you have embassies in other countries? One of the main purposes of an embassy is to collect intelligence. In Israel, if you are an Israeli armed forces soldier, it is a court-martial offense for you to accept a ride from a vehicle that has foreign diplomatic plates, because all foreign diplomats are regarded as spies, including Indian diplomats. So Israel regards our diplomats as spies. What does it mean? It means their diplomats are also spies. By the way, excuse me, hello, wake up. So my point is, if you look at it from a certain perspective, all diplomats are spies. All diplomatic staff and personnel are spies. They all have different functions, different specializations, but they're all spies. They're all collecting intelligence, some overtly, some legally, some illegally, some covertly. So everybody does it. That's just the way the game is played. Even your friends do it to you, and you also do it to your friends, and that's all I will say about this. All right. That's welcome to the real world, people. Let's open our eyes. Let's dispense with the naivete. The real world operates in this manner. Rahul Lakshmanan says, what's the status of the river interlinking project? Is it a good idea on paper? When will it be completed with a probability estimate? I have no idea. I look at geopolitics. I don't look at what's happening within India, whether we are linking the rivers. Is it a good idea? I'm not sure if it's a terribly good idea. I'm not sure if it's a horribly bad idea. That it's a reasonably good idea. Look, one of the issues with, river interlinking is that you may cross pollinate species. That in some cases, in some rivers, you have species that are found only in that river. Maybe it's a gigantic river, so it's big enough to have species that exist only in that river. But when you start interlinking rivers, you may have that cross pollination, which may not be a naturally occurring phenomenon. So you're kind of tampering with nature. But for the nation, it may be very valuable, that sort of interlinkage. Um, so I think from a national strategic perspective, it's I think it makes a lot of sense, probably. Yeah, but I am not aware of the status of the project. I know it exists. I've not looked into the status, and I don't know when it will be completed with probability estimate. I have no idea, because I know nothing about it as of now. I would give a 50% probability it will be completed in the next 10 years. I'm just saying, because I don't know. I think overall it's a good idea. Bhargava Potha Kamuri says, India boasting without shielding our scientists. I don't understand the question. So what's the question? India boasting what exactly? Are we boasting that we have UFOs? Are we boasting we have stealth submarines? Are we boasting we have hypersonic aircraft? Are we boasting we have the world's best AI? What exactly are we boasting? If you could be a little more specific, sir, I could actually be able to answer your question. But I appreciate the fact that you've contributed. So, next time, please give a little more details so that I understand what you're saying. Arun says, my dad always said that if Indira Gandhi was alive, she would have annexed Sri Lanka. Is it true? Having Sri Lanka as a state sounds good. Well, she was alive, wasn't she? She was alive for a long period of time. And for a long time, she was prime minister. Did she annex Lanka? Did she try annexing Lanka? So, look, I have not seen any evidence of that. And if she did not do it during her, lengthy lifespan, how do we know that she would have done it today? And does it make sense to annex Sri Lanka at this point in time, when the world is already on edge? Why not just have economic and cultural reintegration with Sri Lanka, kind of what we have with Nepal, without annexing it? Why do something violent? Why not achieve the same objectives in a very nice, peaceful, mutually acceptable manner? We should have the same arrangement with Sri Lanka that we have with Nepal. They are our own people. They look like us, they speak like us, they talk like us, they eat like us, they have the same ancestry as us. Culturally, we understand each other very well. We're the same people. Just open up, right? No visas required. Just walk in if you want. Just the way we have with Nepal. I think we can do that with Sri Lanka. Then what's the need to annex the nation? It's a wonderful, nice, beautiful nation, wonderful people. Why scare the hell out of them? Why make them feel upset? Why give them a grudge to hold against us? Just open up. Integrate the nation economically and other ways. And let them have their sovereignty, but let them also be part of us. That's the right way to do it. Really now says, was it the absence of divorce that prevented polygamy to promote promiscuity in ancient India, or just innate values, or both? What actually matters? It was our cultural values that prevented promiscuity in India. We do not have that, and we had provisions for everything. So usually, most people did not practice polygamy. First of all, right? Most people just would marry one person in their life, and that would be it. It was generally kings who would practice polygamy, usually, because it was imperative for them to have many offspring, male offspring, generally, because that's how it works. So it was generally practiced only by kings. The regular person would not have multiple wives, spouses, etc. Right? It was just, and it was a cultural thing. It was a cultural thing. It's Indian value. So it's allowed, but it's not really done unless you're a king and you need multiple offspring, because it's a geopolitical thing. It's a question of succession. You need to have multiple options from where you can choose the best possible successor. In that case, you can do that. That's how it was. So it's our cultural values and so on, so forth. And promiscuity was completely unheard of in India. Of course, you had texts like the Kama Sutra and all. You also had the fact that prostitution was not illegal in India, but it was frowned upon very badly. So it was not illegal. But it was regarded as immoral. But it was still allowed by the state. It was taxed heavily, and so on. So everything was allowed in India, but most people would not do it because of our cultural values. Okay, Vedic Post again says, why don't schools teach Acharya Prafulla Chandra, a great chemist? Acharya Prafulla Chandra Ray, a great chemist. His students contributed to modern chemistry and physics. Can you highlight his best teachings? I'm afraid I can't. I'm not aware of his best teachings. First of all, I don't know much about chemistry, and I'm not really aware of this gentleman because I have never really studied chemistry. I have not bothered to know about India's great chemists. The one great chemist I know of is Dr. Gautam Desiraju, who has the highest number of published papers and citations in India. But let's okay. I know nothing. I don't know anything about Acharya Prafulla Chandra Ray, but let's Google him and let me do my best to quickly learn something about him. So Acharya Prafulla Chandra Roy, Indian chemist and educationist. Now, I always say don't look at Wikipedia because it lies to you. Okay, let's look at West Bengal tourism. What do they have to say about Acharya Prafulla Chandra Roy? Okay, Indian government sites don't open. That's lovely. So I'll have to go to Wikipedia. Please remember, Wikipedia is not a reliable source of information. I'm just doing a first pass over here. He was an Indian chemist, educationist, historian, industrialist, philanthropist, 1861 to 1944. The father of Indian chemistry. Royal Society honored his life because we need white validation, of course, right? Etc. He was the founder of Bengal Chemicals and Pharmaceuticals. Family background, childhood education, student in Britain, scientific research, mercurous nitrite for discovering nitrite chemistry, extremely effective, etc. Crumbled this field for several years, long discipline, etc., etc., etc. Various chemical reactions that we have. Okay, revolutionary in the garb of a scientist, deterioration. Okay, social reformer, etc. Literary works. Okay, looks like a person who had multiple interests. That is what the term used for that is polymath. So looks like it's somebody that who has done a lot of interesting and probably important work. I was not aware of this gentleman, so thank you for bringing this to my notice. And I hope that through this medium, more people will go and look him up and maybe learn about him. And in case he's genuinely a great Indian scientist, then schools should teach about him. Schools absolutely should teach about him. This is the problem in India. We don't value our people. We don't value the people who've spent their whole lives serving the country and bringing a good name to the country. That's the sad thing about India. Why don't school teachers? Because in the schools, the education system's objective is to make people ashamed of being Indian, and to give a big inferiority complex to people. That's the objective of the education system. That's why the situation is the way it is. Kiran Meda, first of all, thank you so much. That's a very generous contribution. I really appreciate that, sir. So okay, please please ask your viewers to watch his story of Itihas, well-made movie about how Indian his history and education was destroyed. It's suppressed by the leftist gang. It needs support. I'm not related to the producers in any way. Sorry for hack. No, that's all right. Please ask your viewers to watch the history of Itihas, a well-made movie. Okay, so yeah, certainly people should check it out. I'll check it out. What is the history of Itihas? Let me quickly Google it. Let's quickly do a Google search. What is history of Itihas? Let me find out. History of Itihas. What is this? His story of Itihas. Okay, this is the IMDb thing. It's a true story about a physics teacher who stands up against the system to question the wrong and distorted history of India. taught to Indians for generations in the schools. Well, sounds familiar somehow. A physics teacher who stands up against the system. It's got a 9.9 rating out of 10. That's outstanding. 2 hours, 24 minutes, 2025. And what's the review? Obviously, the reviews will be good, and so on. And who are the actors? Arun Vikal, Yogendra Tikku. I think I've seen him before. Subodh Bhave, Namya Saxena, Sachin Jarial, and other people don't have images, and so on. Vasco da Gama discovered India. Yeah, I know this. Okay, sounds like an interesting movie. So, thank you, sir, for your contribution, and I certainly will check out this movie. Is it available in cinema houses or is it available online? I'll find out, and I would recommend everybody do that. I'm sure it's a great initiative to bring this fact to everyone's attention that our history has been so badly distorted and so on. So, yeah, thank you for bringing us to our notice, Kiranji. Thank you, sir. Spade says, Sar, shouldn't India increase its nuclear arsenal just like China, which has announced plans to add 1,000 nukes by 2030? We should increase it, but we need not necessarily announce it. Some things are best left in the shadows. So yeah, if the Chinese are, first of all, how many nukes do we have? The Western media says we have 170 nukes, and they say Pakistan has 165, or maybe we have 180, they have 170. They always want to hyphenate India, Pakistan. How do they know how many nukes we actually have? Have they come and checked or what? Maybe we have more. There have been studies done in the past about how much fissile material India has. And it turns out that we have sufficient fissile material. I mean, we had until around 2020 sufficient fissile material for about 4,000 nuclear warheads. Now, some of it is locked up in nuclear reactors, some of it is locked up in submarines, some of it is locked up somewhere else. But we still would have sufficient fissile material for at least 1,000 warheads, maybe more. So, look, these things we don't discuss. These things the government never announces, the military never announces. These things are kept under wraps. But yeah, if the Chinese are increasing their arsenal, there's no question we should also follow suit. Really now says who has is tougher in the world today? Okay, who is tougher in the world today? India or China? Look, who's stronger in the world today? China. Tougher. We have existed for more than 10,000 years. We are tough. We are tougher, but they are stronger right now. Got it? Ayers Manticore says, according to the science, absence of evidence does not mean absence of presence. Okay, let me just wrap my head around that. Absence of evidence, the evidence is not there, does not mean absence of presence. You're right. Yeah. So why do atheists then say that God is not real without proof? Their imposition of this belief on others seems religious. It's ideological. It's almost religious in nature. Atheism itself is it's a religion. Atheism itself is a religion, by the way. It's just another movement. It's another religious movement of some kind. But in this case, the non-existence of God is their creed. It's their belief system. You can't prove that God doesn't exist. The same way that you can't prove that God exists. Listen, you can't mix science and religion, science and theology. What is science? Science is based on empirical observations and physical objects in phenomena. Now, when it comes to God, when it comes to the soul, Atma, these are non-physical entities. The Atma, the soul, doesn't have a physical shape or size or weight. And God is also not a physical object. It's something else. So it is not part of the physical world, right? So then if it's not part of the physical world, how can you apply the laws of physics and the laws of the universe to these things? That itself is super stupid, but they are not intelligent enough to understand how super stupid they are. They're trying to disprove the existence of God through the physical laws. Super stupid. That's why I say, I've said this and I apologize to those who are offended, but atheists are super stupid people. Incredibly stupid people. I mean, how on earth can you make the claim that I know everything in the universe? I know everything about the universe. That I know that God doesn't exist. How on earth do you know that? How do you even know what's beyond the universe if there is something beyond the universe? Making the claim that God doesn't exist is essentially making the claim that I know exactly what's happening all across the universe and beyond it. Which, to my, it, for me, for a very small intellect like me, it's very stupid, really. Okay, Grok says universities are producing mostly left youth leaders. Why? Because they're designed to do that. It's by design they're doing this. All right. Um, Vidhi says don't trust internet as much as I trust you. So ask. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, and I gave you the best answer I had. Uh, Grok says please search China non-nuclear hydrogen bomb and explain. Okay, let's do that. China non-nuclear hydrogen bomb. China non-nuclear hydrogen bomb. What is this? China tests non-nuclear hydrogen bomb. Science paper, blah, etc. Shows white hot fireball that lasts 15 seconds. Blah, blah, blah. Hydrogen-based explosive. It's a hydrogen-based explosive device. It's not a thermonuclear bomb. 2 kilogram bomb, etc., etc. For 2 seconds, 15 times longer, etc., etc. Ski magnesium-based solid-state hydrogen storage portal. The silvery powder is magnesium hydride, stores considerably more hydrogen than a pressurized tank. Okay, good. It was originally developed to bring the gas to off-grid areas. So it was originally developed as a storage system for the gas because it stores more hydrogen than a pressurized tank. But then you can use it for other purposes like making a bomb. So when activated by conventional, okay, fine, okay, fine. Okay, I get it. Okay, long story short, very interesting, very long. The main thing is there is a material called magnesium hydride that stores considerably more hydrogen than a pressurized tank of hydrogen. It was originally developed to transport the gas to off-grid areas by storing it inside this material, this silvery white powder called magnesium hydride. But then geniuses thought, wow, we have so much hydrogen in such a small thing. Why don't we try setting it on fire or exploding it? And then he discovered, wow, super. So that's the deal. It was supposed to be a means of transporting hydrogen, but then they turned it into a weapon. Every technology has multiple uses, different kinds of uses. It depends on who is using it and what their objectives are. There we have it. Really now says, could the Big Bang have emerged from a singularity? But that's the standard scenario, right? If we know that the universe is expanding, so we know what's going to happen back, far in the future. But if we just reverse the time and play the tape backwards, it means that we are all the universe was contracting. So it means the universe was much smaller in the past, and it kind of implies that it started from a singularity. We don't know. We don't quite know if it was a singularity or maybe it was something else, but it started from a very small, almost point-like structure. That's what it looks like. Deep Datta says HAL is useless when it comes to building aircraft and engines. We are 30 years behind China when it comes to building fighter aircraft. Shouldn't we privatize HAL? Well, that's for the government to decide. Maybe privatization is a good idea, or maybe it's a bad idea because now then the government no longer has control over it. Maybe we should have public-private partnerships in which some things stay in the hands of the government, some things become are done by private players. Generally, private players they achieve better results, faster results. So maybe the government doesn't want to give up control over this entity. So maybe encourage private players to enter this industry, the arms industry, and so on. I think it's happening kind of. I'm not sure if it's entirely useless, but yeah, there are significant issues. No question about it. No question about it. When it comes to to aircraft engines, it's the GTRE that does it, right? The Gas Turbine Research Establishment, Bengaluru. And they are developing the Kaveri engine, and they have done reasonably good progress in that, but we still have ways to go. Ankita says, doesn't Russia's slow war strategy, hasn't it been proved to be severely counterproductive, giving Ukraine a plan to such a devastating operation on Russia when it could have flattened Ukraine quite early in war? It doesn't make sense to me what they're doing, really. If I was Mr. Putin, I would have finished the war in 2 weeks. But then Mr. Putin knows better than me, right? I think they have taken it. They've let it meander for too long, and this has given Ukraine the opportunity to, because Ukraine is not being taken over. It means that Mr. Zelensky is now seen as more legitimate, despite him now being a dictator, because he is no longer the elected president, but he has imposed martial law. And because he has been in power so long, he has learned the ropes, and now, you know, Ukraine is able to use these asymmetric beams to strike deep and hard into Russia, thousands of kilometers away. So, if the Russians had overwhelmed Ukraine in the first few weeks of the war, in the first year of the war, or by 2024, then these things would not have happened. So, it looks like it has proven counterproductive. It looks like the Russians want to just grind Ukraine down and slowly, steadily reduce Ukraine's ability to fight against Russia. But then these things happen, and the West keeps on supplying weapons, and they have given Ukraine the authorization to use long range weapons now, which again could cross significant red lines and so on. So I think it's not a good strategy. I think it's been counterproductive. It was okay for a while, but at the end of the day, if you have military objectives, please go and achieve them. Your military objectives and political objectives are kind of tied together. Achieve them and get on and move on with life. So I think it's not been a good strategy, and it's yeah, it is what it is. So I agree with you. It's been significantly counterproductive. The losses they've sustained now. I mean, if it is true that they lost more than 40 aircraft, it's a disaster. It doesn't mean that they can no longer deliver nuclear warheads wherever they want, but it's a disaster anyway. Losing 40 high value aircraft, bad, very bad. Sarangji, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Aris Manticore says, what grade of AI do you think was used in Op Sindur? Military grade AI. That's what I would say. Tejas Verma, thank you very much, sir. First of all, a while ago after Ratan Tata died, you were asked for your opinion on Mr. Tata, but you said it was too early to comment. Can you please share your thoughts about him now? I think it's too early to comment. You know, when Mr. Zhou Enlai of China, he was asked by, I think, Mr. Henrik Kissinger or somebody, about his opinion on the French Revolution. Mr. Zhou Enlai said, I think it's a little too early to comment about it. So I think I will should I employ that strategy? It's still too early. Like the French Revolution, it's still too early to know how well it went. Look, what do I have to say about Mr. Ratan Tata? I think afterwards I spoke about it. What did I say about Mr. Tata? Let me just quickly see my own channel. What have I said? In case I have said it, then I don't need to repeat it over here. Let me quickly go to. Let us do a search on my channel. In case this is okay, so let us search here. This is how you do it. Ratan Tata. Did I speak about Mr. Ratan Tata? Views on Ratan Tata 5 months ago. 5 months ago. So I would suggest you watch this, and that would be it. But overall, I mean, why would I ask you to watch that when I'm over here live? So let me look. Mr. Ratan Tata was a great industrialist, entrepreneur, all that, etc., etc. Never married. That's his personal life. I don't care about that. Um, but there are some problematic issues. He is known to have funded academic research in the West that is very strongly pro India. He is known to have funded other organizations, media organizations possibly, that have been disfavorably inclined towards India, etc. I don't remember the specifics of it right now. But yeah, the legacy is mixed and kind of clouded, in my opinion. What exactly were the things? Which organizations did Mr. Ratan Tata fund? Um, let's go and Google. Let's go and Google this. Okay, Ratan Tata funded anti-India Organizations. Did he? Tata Tapes controversy, philanthropic, Tata Trusts, caught between a CM, Tata Group funding anti-Hindu activities in India, and so on. Piyush Goyal says Tata Group is anti-national. So if you look into these matters, you will find out that there are issues. There are issues. Okay, I don't remember the specific details right now. I had looked it up about 6 months ago, but there are issues, unfortunately. So yeah, people like to glorify individuals without studying their activities in detail. Just because the media is glorifying somebody, it doesn't mean that you have to jump on the bandwagon and start saying, "Oh, yeah, great sir, great sir, great sir." There are issues with many people. Jagan says the economic trajectory of India and China was the same up to 1991. Yes, sir. But after 30 years, China is manufacturing half of the world. Do you think it's because of the one party system, whereas democracy is messy, in my opinion? Yes, it is indeed the case. When you are a dictatorship, you can get things done immediately or almost immediately. You are obeyed when you're a dictator. In a democracy, there are checks and balances, and there is federalism, and there's a separation of powers between the center and the state. And a state has a different political party, the center has a different political party, and they're opposing each other, and all kinds of complications and messes. In China, when Mr. Xi Jinping says do this, everyone does it. Then you have a much more agile system, much more responsive system. You can implement your decisions quickly. In India, it takes a lot of time. There's a lot of friction. There's a lot of inertia in India. China, it's smooth. That's why they are ahead of us very clearly. So I agree with that. Yes. Dexter's Laboratory says, "Do you listen to Acharya Prashant?" No, sir. Never listen to him. Wooden Armory PK says, "I'm an internet IT coolie working in a FANG company. What should I do to ensure livelihood 10 years down the line when AI eats up all the jobs?" The only way you will thrive in the age of AI is if you learn how to become AI's master, how to use AI instead of being afraid of it. So, look, you're in a FANG company, right? So you're going to learn how to use AI in what? Let's say you're a programmer, okay? IT coolie, you say. Um, let's say you are not a manager, but you're a programmer. So you are probably developing or maintaining some software. So what are the roles as an IT coolie? You have a programmer or coder who either creates new software or does maintenance, or you are a business analyst who will talk to the business folks and get the requirements and create requirements documents, design documents, and so on and so forth. Or you are in the testing, QA, quality assurance, which is testing, which means you take the newly developed software or maintained software and you test it against the client's requirements, and so on and so forth. Now, if you were think like a founder, okay, think like a founder. You, as a founder, you have a number of employees who work for you. Now, when AI becomes good enough, you will want to replace the employees who are humans and who have deficiencies with the AI, which is more predictable and powerful. So the question is, if you were a founder, how would you use AI? How would you use AI to augment your work and make it better? If you can learn these things, then you will be one of the managers of AI in a future company or in a future time period. You will know how to handle AI and how to manage it. Then you will be one of the few humans who has a job in an IT company, but you are managing AI employees. So that's the kind of thing you have to do. Japan offers jet engine for AMCA. Will the US allow it? Maybe the US has asked Japan to do this so that they can insert some problems for India. Uh, Rohan Suneja says, "Your views on the Rothschild family, how powerful are they?" I haven't studied these people, so I don't know. Clearly, they're an old money family, but I haven't had the time to study their family history, and they seem to be pretty wealthy today. Also, it is alleged that they are part of the what Illuminati and deep state and whatnot. I don't know about this. I haven't studied their history so far. I haven't had the time. So sorry. Ritvik says, "Why are Indians so gullible and can be manipulated by anyone easily and love getting validated by West? How can they come out of their mental colonization?" It's this inferiority complex thing, right? Indians have a tremendous inferiority complex because of so many things, because of the education system, because of the media, because of the role models they look up to. When your role models are all SAR of the West, you will also feel the same way. And the education system doesn't teach you how to decide what's right and what's wrong, how to do critical thinking. So you're gullible. You're gonna believe nonsense. Then you're gonna be easily manipulated. So because of these things, Indians are gullible. Indians can be manipulated easily, and Indians they crave Western validation. How can you come out of mental colonization? By learning the truth, by learning the true history of India, that we were never second to anyone. We were the number one economy, and so on and so forth. And if you develop some self-respect and so on, you will not have mental colonization. I personally have never suffered from this problem for whatever reason, but it pains me to see Indians, my fellow Indians, be like this. It's painful. Sorry. Bhargav says India touts tech war but ignores scientists. Okay, that's the question you were asking. Okay, thank you so much for giving details. Let's see. India touts tech. India touts war technology, but ignores scientist safety. With private firms in, what precautions is India taking to protect them? 50 characters limit. Okay. I got it. So we have war technology, but we are ignoring scientist safety. I've heard in the past that Indian nuclear engineers or scientists or whatever, some of them allegedly, it seems there were deaths, suspicious deaths and all. Um, I'm not sure how true it is, but we know that Dr. Homi Baba was killed in mysterious circumstances, not a natural death. His plane was crashed into the Swiss or French Alps. It was not found for 40, 50 years. So yeah, these things have happened. With private firms in, what precautions is India taking to protect scientists? Well, whatever precautions we may be taking or the government may be taking to protect our key scientists, those will not be announced and those will not be publicized. So I can only tell you this, that I am hopeful that whoever the key scientists are, we are taking all the precautions we need to ensure their safety. We've had things happen in the past. For example, General Bipin Rawat, he was a key uh, military person, and we know how he died. We still, I mean, I'm not sure if the report has come out, and it doesn't really matter what report comes out because the real truth will stay secret. So yeah, we got to be careful about this. This is all I can say. I'm not in the government, so I'm not sure what precautions we are or are not taking. I cannot tell you because I'm not privy to that information. But I certainly hope we are. I certainly hope we are. Captain says, are doing anything on non-Parmanu hydrogen bomb like the one China tested recently? Don't you think that would be more practical to have than the classical ones? No, the classical ones cannot be replaced by the one that the Chinese tested recently, hydrogen nitride or something. The class, the classical ones, especially the thermonuclear ones, nobody can replace them. Uh, so I'm not sure if India is doing anything about the non-nuclear hydrogen bombs. The technology seems to be pretty straightforward. You have this chemical which stores a lot of hydrogen, and you can set it off with conventional explosives, and then the output is very nice, very strong. But I'm not sure it can go to megaton ranges. I don't think it's gonna go to megaton kind of yields. So that's why you can't replace the thermonuclear bombs. Arun says, follow up. What's your opinion on Hindu Lankan refugees, immigrants? They don't hate us and are integrated when compared to hateful ones from the East. I have no issue with Hindu refugees from Sri Lanka. Anybody who doesn't hate us, doesn't want us dead, um, who is civilizationally and culturally compatible with us, I'm okay with that. My problem is with those who want us dead. The 100 million Bangladeshis in India, they are not our well wishers. They have no allegiance to India. They have no allegiance to our culture or civilization. Those are the ones we have to evict and deport. Lankans, they're not going to do anything bad to us. It's okay. We're the same people anyway. So I have no issue with them. As Manticore says, I don't really get with right wing or left wing split. Why can't leaders think about society's problems and find a solution without locking their frame of thought? Is it that hard for critical thinking? That's the problem with the political party system. That you once you enter a political party, you're forced to align yourself with a certain ideology. Maybe you found that ideology attractive initially. You joined the political party. But if you're a thinking person, you'll find that at least in the case of some political parties, the ideologies are international. Then what do? If you have any sense, you leave. But I don't know how it works. So the problem with the political party system is that you're expected to align with a specific ideology. Maybe the ideology is good in some cases, but let's say you're elected to the Parliament of India from so and so constituency. The people of your constituency voted for you to represent them in the Indian Parliament. So you are supposed to go to the Indian Parliament and represent this group of people, and you have to take care of this group of people, and whatever their aspirations are, whatever their problems are, you have to be able to solve them from the Parliament of India. That's why you've gone there. But because you are in a political party, you have to ignore your constituency and do whatever the political party's leaders say because of party discipline. Is it good for your constituency? You're going to end up ignoring them. So that's the problem with the political party system. It's not ideal. You see? Yashika says, is there a real link between LOA and the cosmos? Now, what is LOA? What is LOA? Let me Google it. LOA. A god in the voodoo religion of Haiti. Look, this is what I Googled, right? LOA. Okay. LOA and the cosmos. LOA. Law of attraction. The belief that our thoughts shape our experiences by influencing the energy of the universe. Look, this is also what you would call pseudoscientific. I personally am not aware of any link between the law of attraction and the cosmos. Sorry. Sorry. Spade says, did Nehru Chacha push Bache do hi achhe for Hindus by allowing Muslim polygamy, suppressing Hindu traditions to undermine Hindu population? Should we allow polygamy, polyandry again? Is it possible? Look, Chacha Nehru, I'm not sure. I know about his geopolitical blunders. I'm not sure about his other things, what he did internally and what he did about the Hindu-Muslim dynamics and all. This is something I am not aware of. I don't study this stuff. I study geopolitics history from a global perspective, not from the religious perspective. There are many other scholars who do that. I am not the person to ask this question. So I don't know what Mr. Nehru did about the birth rates of Hindus versus Muslims versus any other religion. I'm not sure about that. He was not fond of Hinduism. We know that. We know that for sure. I would that much I know. And I'm sure that he would have loved to undermine the Hindu population. That also looks pretty plausible based on his proclivities and his perspectives, right? Should we allow polygamy, polyandry again? Look, our civilization, our culture says that has nothing against polygamy or polyandry. I would say leave it to the individual. I would say don't ban anything. Just like we have unbanned LGBTQ stuff, whatever that is, right? We culturally have never had anything against LGBTQ people, whoever existed. Similarly, we we've never had anything against polyandry or polygamy or whatever. We are a very relaxed civilization. We said you do whatever you want as long as it doesn't bother me, I don't care. So I would say that's the right approach. Allow LGBTQ. Why? What's wrong with it? If somebody wants to do it, it's their problem, right? It's their life. There's no right or wrong in that. Similarly, if somebody wants to do polygamy, let them do it. If somebody wants to do polyandry, let them do it. How does it harm society? It doesn't harm society. So I would say allow everything, as long as it doesn't infringe on anybody's rights, anybody's life. Should be allowed. It's okay. Ares Manticore says, our focus on multivariants of nuclear reactors. Why depend on US and EU when they clearly have no intention of allowing us progress in this field? Thorium, sodium, and other fusion reactors, variants, etc. I think we are behind in our 3-stage nuclear program. We are at the end of the first stage and the very beginning of the second stage, somewhere like that. And I'm not sure what the plan is. We should have a completely indigenous system, and the end stage is we want to have thorium based nuclear reactors, and we have the world's largest reserves of thorium. So I don't think we should depend on the US, on EU, on their technologies. They obviously, you're right, they have no intention of allowing us to progress in this field. So we should not depend on them. We should have our own completely indigenous program. If we can get some technology here and there which will accelerate it, great. But we should not be dependent on anybody. Spade says, please make Ask Abhijit to Ask Abhijit, sir. See, this is why I've switched to super chats so that I don't get such silly questions. But you managed to do it. Yes, I appreciate. I applaud. I applaud your initiative. Naveen says, is karma real? It's said to be real. Could be real. I don't know. Maybe. Why are some people born super intelligent? Why are some people born superior athletes? Why are some people born handsome and some people not handsome? Why are some people small and weak? Maybe it's karma. What did they do to deserve it? Not maybe karma. So maybe karma is real. Who knows? How do we know? It's possible. Airs Manticore says, considering the US, the FE404 must have been tampered. It's possible. The engine, possible. Okay, I'm going to end this very soon. So please stop with the super chats. Please stop it. I'm going to end this after 2-3 questions. Jagan says, should India consider to come out of the UN, IMF, World Bank? These are just useless, submissive organizations. In UNSC, Pakistan is a vice chairman to counter terror organizations and sanctions. Look, there's no point coming out of it and withdrawing. Be everywhere. You should be part of every scene. Be inside it. Whether it is productive or not, as long as it doesn't hurt you, be part of it. If it starts countering your interests, then you can leave it in protest. Otherwise, be part of every scene, be part of every room, every hall where everybody else is there. There's no harm doing that. I know these are useless organizations. The UN is useless. IMF and World Bank are just US puppets. They are just used for doling out rewards to those who provide services to the masters and all. No question about it. UNSC Pakistan vice chairman of this terror thing. What the? Very funny. But there's no point leaving it. Just stay. Be part of it. Nikhil Srivastav, thank you, sir. Why is Europe called a continent even though it clearly doesn't satisfy the continent's definition? It's not a continent, it's a joke. Calling Europe a continent is a joke. Why is it still called a continent? Because white people think they are superior and they are separate. So Europe has to be a separate continent. It does not satisfy any criteria of the definition of a continent. It's not a continent. So let us not call it a continent. Let them keep on harping about it. It's clearly not a continent. It's a small part of Eurasia. So let us not call it a continent. Praveen, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Captain says, there would be no radiation problem like the classical ones, and world sanction would not apply only on classical ones, so we can use it on our neighbors. Look, there are issues. You're talking about the nuclear versus non-nuclear hydrogen bomb. If you want to deliver a megaton class weapon to a location, then it has to be packed in a very small volume, right? It should fit into a nuclear warhead. It should fit into a missile's fairing, which has an MIRV system, which means that one missile will carry 5 or 10 warheads, and each of them has megaton kind of output. You won't be able to achieve this with your hydrogen non-nuclear thing, with hydrogen nitride. You will need much more like hydrogen nitride, the powder. It won't fit into this small fairing. The amount of energy that can be output by a nuclear weapon exceeds anything a chemical weapon can do. That's why. Otherwise, you can use regular weapons, right? Spade says, chat and Sar, keep smiling. It looks like, yeah, thank you. I love smiling. I'm a very smiley guy. Thank you. Arun says, I think Indians replace Saab with Sar when talking in English to British accent. Saab, Sar. Maybe. It sounds similar and it's used in a similar context. Very interesting point you bring here. I have not thought about it. Saab became Sar. All right. Okay. I think we are at the end of today's live stream. I have far exceeded the amount of time I was supposed to do it for 1 hour. But here we have it. We are done. And I guess I will end the live stream over here. So, once again, everybody, thank you so much for the questions. I really enjoyed this. I'm going to have another live stream tomorrow night and then one on Saturday. So, please ask, please keep asking questions. Please keep learning. Never stop learning. Keep raising your standards. And I will see you soon enough. All right. Take care. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.